Let's go over another practice problem using polygenic inheritance. A geneticist studying the inheritance of flower color crossed a pure white flower with a dark red flower and got all pink offspring. This is evidence that this flower inheritance follows polygenic inheritance. From a genetic test, the researcher found out that the dominant allele produces a red pigment, while the recessive allele produces a white pigment. So in the practice problem, we cross a red flower with a pink flower. The red flower has a genotype big A little a, big B, while the pink flower has a genotype big A little a, big B little b. The question asks, what are the expected phenotype ratios of the offspring? So again, we have all our different types of offspring. We have to figure out what these percentages will be. The possible gametes for the red flower are going to be big A, big B, and little a, big B. That's the only combination between these two letters of the genotype. The possible gametes for the pink flower are going to be big A, big B, big A, little a, big B, and little a, little b. So now we have to make a Punnett square with all these different possible gametes. The Punnett square is going to look something like this. Now, you might notice that this Punnett square only has two different gametes on this side. That's because we could add in the extra genotypes, but they're the same thing. We're only going to have another big A, big B, and little a, big B. So we don't need to add those extra squares because all the data is still going to come out to be the same. Now we have to fill out our Punnett square, and it should look something like this. Now again, it really doesn't matter what the combination of the alleles is, it just matters how many dominant alleles there are. So if we count the number of dominant alleles, we get this for our Punnett square. Now again, let's go back to the problem. It says, what are the expected phenotypical ratios of the offspring? And if you look, I add the number of dominant alleles for the different phenotypes. Here are the answers. 1 out of 8 of them will be dark red and light pink, while 3 out of 8 will be red and pink. This square is going to be dark red since there are 4 dominant alleles. This square is going to be light pink since there's 1 dominant allele. These 3 squares are going to be red because there are 3 dominant alleles, while these 3 squares are going to be pink since there are 2 dominant alleles.